Good morning, welcome to Headline Focus here live on Core Politics with me, Rob Double. It is Monday the 26th of March 2018. Let's have a look at what's making the political news today. So to start off with, Corbyn has come under fire by Jewish leaders today and has apologised for what he says is the hurt caused by pockets of anti-Semitism within the Labour Party. Now, he's also said we are campaigning to increase support and confidence in Labour among Jewish people in the UK. Now, what does this come off the back of? This comes off the back of the Board of Deputies of British Jews and the Jewish Leadership Council saying that the concerns of mainstream Jews are ignored by Mr Corbyn and those he leads. A repeated institutional failure to properly address Jewish concerns to tackle anti-Semitism. And he's repeated, according to the Board of Deputies of British Jews and the Jewish Leadership Council, repeatedly sided with anti-Semites. The stinging conclusion is we conclude that he cannot seriously contemplate anti-Semitism because he is so ideologically fixed with a far-left worldview that is instinctively hostile to mainstream Jewish communities. So a real stinging attack on Jeremy Corbyn from these two groups, very prominent groups within the Jewish community and within the political sphere of the Jewish community. The latest revelations, this has come off the back of, is Corbyn's reported support for an artist who had painted an anti-Semitic mural in 2012. And this comes off the back of, as well, him being shown on video as saying Hamas and Hezbollah are friends, and the Chakrabarti report, which was looking into anti-Semitism within the Labour Party, which some saw as a bit of, maybe not necessarily a whitewash, but certainly nowhere near as forensic nor as strong as it perhaps needed to be. Now, the Jewish community groups have called for a mass protest against anti-Semitism in the Labour Party. That could possibly happen today. So have a look at the news later on. Perhaps on Palace Green you'll see some protesters towards this afternoon. Next up, EU nations expel Russian diplomats. Now, at least 10 EU nations are expected to announce expulsions of Russian diplomats today, with the US poised to follow suit. Now, this is a significant diplomatic victory for Theresa May. If you remember off the back of the European Council meeting we were at last week, the European Council, and that's the 28 EU member states, agreed with the United Kingdom that the government's assessment that it is highly likely that the Russian Federation is responsible and that there is no plausible alternative explanation. Basically, the EU putting its full weight behind Theresa May and the UK government's interpretation of what happened in Salisbury with the nerve agent attack. Now, the Prime Minister is in the Commons, indeed, this afternoon to make a statement on last week's EU Council summit, which will predominantly obviously cover the Brexit negotiations, but also the talk and the dinner regarding Russia and the decision made by the EU 28 to back the UK government on this stance. And the MPs will hold a more general debate on UK-Russia relations after that. So expect more lines to be coming out on that today as the day heats up. Finally, we couldn't go anywhere without talking about Brexit. The EU bans the UK from a satellite project. Now, Brussels, according to the FT, as you can see here, plans to exclude the UK from a €10 billion Galileo satellite project. Now, what does that meaning to do? It seeks to create an encrypted navigation system, and it really enables European governments to break the dependence on US-owned GPS systems. So it's quite a significant project with a significant aim. British firms will be banned, however, according to this report, from bidding for contracts worth hundreds of millions of pounds, with the British military excluded from the new system completely. And that's because Britain will be, as EU officials are reported to have said, will be considered a third country and therefore will not get access to these projects and the facility that they offer. Now, this stings a little bit, perhaps, for some, is because the UK has promised unconditionally security support for Europe after Brexit, and for some, perhaps, this is not seen as the EU being mutually willing to give their part in that relationship as well. But again, this is subject to negotiations. This is by no means concrete yet, just a report. That's pretty much it for today. You're up to date. Don't forget you can find all the latest on what we're doing here on Core Politics on our Facebook page and Twitter right here. But from me and all the team here at Core London, have a fantastic start to your week.